Hey there, and welcome to my channel, the Paperback Investor. In today's video, I want to look at the 5 levels of autonomous driving and give you my thoughts on why I actually think these 5 levels are pretty stupid, not very helpful in determining the value of a company's full self-driving software. And then I'm going to be explaining my approach or my thinking of how to evaluate the value of a company's full self-driving, or the progress of a company's full self-driving towards sort of level 5 autonomy, as they call it. So let's get into it. And before we go any further, I just want to be absolutely clear, not a personal financial advisor. I'm just a guy with a bag on his head. And I love investing. I love thinking about the future. I've been investing since about 2009, have averaged about a 30% compound annual growth rate over that span of time, and hope to continue to achieve that kind of growth rate, or even do better than that in the next 10 years, 11 years going forward. If that interests you, if this all interests you, investing, I'm also really excited about seeing other people learn to invest, other people improving their own investing skills and their own personal finance. So if all that appeals to you, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button down below. Okay, let's get into the meat of the video. Okay, so we have here a little graph of the levels of driving automation. Is defined by the Society of Automotive Engineers, SAE. Defines these 6 levels. So 0 is no automation, 1 is driver assistance, which could be like some basic lane keeping, and also cruise control. Then they call it level 2, partial automation. The vehicle gets, some steering for you, maybe it can change lanes for you, but you really have to monitor all things all the time. And then level 3, where it has some more environmental capabilities, can do most driving tasks, but the human is still there to override at all times. And then high automation level 4, the vehicle performs as driving tasks under specific circumstances. Geofencing, so a specific area that the vehicle is limited to, is required. Human override is still an option. And then full automation, the vehicle performs all driving tasks under all conditions. 0 human attention or interaction is required. So this is this perfect case. You drive anywhere all the time. 4 is basically there, but maybe more of a geofenced area, and you might need to take over in certain circumstances. Okay, so what are my problems with these levels? First off, big problem I have is that these levels, you go, levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it conveys that it's this linear journey from level 1 to level 5. And again, these are my beefs with these levels, because I think if you're an investor and you're trying to think who's the best company to invest in for autonomous driving, these kind of levels, I think, can throw you off. Because if you think, it's this linear scale, these guys are in level 2, 3, they're moving along. If you think it's sort of this linear journey from level 1 to 5, I think that's wrong. And I think it's wrong on many accounts, and that's why, one of the big reasons I don't like these levels and these labels. I would say the difficulty in advancing along these levels is more of an exponential curve than a linear line. So to go from a level 3 or 2 to 3, maybe it's doable. To go from that to level 4, where the car really can just be trusted to drive itself, even without someone, but within a geofenced area, it's very difficult to do that. And another thing is why it's sort of, I'm calling it more of an exponential curve, is that the distance between level 4 and 5 is very large, or even theoretically infinite. Level 5, where it says 0, it says actually all conditions, performs driving tasks under all conditions. And I had somebody, comment on a Twitter post I wrote about this just recently. They said, what about in a hurricane? If the car can't drive in a hurricane, is it no longer a level 5 car then? So where is the line on that? Is there a practical line? According to this, it's all driving conditions. So do you ever really reach level 5? That would be, that's sort of almost this infinite leap to go from, level 4 to a full level 5. Of course, there's level 4.9999999. Maybe that's practically where they end up. But again, I just think it's more the difficulty in advancing along this is exponential, not linear, and these numbers can throw people off, I think, making it seem linear. Okay, the next beef I have with it is that clearly defining where each company is on the scale is a challenge. For example, level 2 and 3 are quite blurry. Is it a 2? Is it 3? There's a report just came out that Tesla is still a level 2, though I would say there's full self-driving beta I would say it'd be more defined as a level 3. So where exactly is the company on these is challenging to identify. And then the third reason, I think it provides little value in comparing between companies' progress, their full self-driving progress. Level 4. For example, level 4 could be reached in one tiny geofenced area by one company, but then also reached by another company for 99% of an entire country or even continent. 99% of the drivable roads maybe are all mapped out, are all part of the geofence, and it's just 1%. Are those two systems, the same because they're both level 4? Oh, I would say, of course not. And honestly, that's how I did another, my last video, I sort of explained how I saw it, Tesla's full self-driving plan rolling out, and this is how I would see it. I don't see them actually just reaching level 5, switching on, everything's good. I see sort of a rollout of geofenced areas to where 99% of the road space is all geofenced and approved for driving safely and carefully and by those vehicles. Okay. So since it's difficult to judge where different companies are on the scale, it's also difficult to see the value of the scale. That's just my opinion, that this scale, it's hard to see totally the value as an investor of comparing, oh, you're at a level 2 and you're at a level 3, oh, you're at a level, oh, you're at a level 2.5 and you're at level 3.5. It's hard to even say where those are, so how can you really compare the between companies using this scale? So to me, it's not a very valuable scale. If anything, it causes confusion. Here's what I'm calling the better approach to judging full self-driving progress. So here's what I think is the much better approach. Okay, first of all, you look at what's valuable to the customer, the people that would actually use full self-driving. As an investor, you're trying to identify things that create value for customers, because that's going to create value for you as a shareholder. As an owner of the company. So you work backwards from what a customer of full self-driving would want to determine what the goals are. Okay, so you have to sort of figure out what are the goals you're trying to aim towards, or the company's actually, what matters and what doesn't matter. The customer and what the customer wants is going to define what those goals are. Then you're going to say, okay, look which companies have the technology in place, or the approach to full self-driving, the system that can theoretically reach the goals. Okay, so who can actually theoretically reach these goals? And then of said companies, look who has the best system of clear feedback loops and ability to iteratively take action on those feedback loops to work towards a goal. So essentially, I explained this in other videos, but I think if anytime you approach any problem, you have to really carefully identify what the problem is. And if it's a difficult problem, like something like full self-driving, you're going to have to take a stab at the problem. And then you're going to have to somehow receive feedback on where your failures are, and then you're going to have to acknowledge those feedbacks if they're genuine, and then iteratively improve upon them. That's how anyone really learns to do anything, and any organization can improve that way as well. And the same way that any organization or approach to full self-driving can do that as well. So the above 3 steps will tell you which are the best full self-driving companies to invest in, or even the best company to invest in. If you can identify what the customers want, their goals are, who can actually theoretically achieve those goals, and who has the feedback loops and can quickly and iteratively, it doesn't take them months or years to take action on each feedback, but they can within days or hours or minutes even take action and improve on that. That's the kind of company you want. That's the kind of company that can reach the goals and desires of those customers and drive that value. So then I'm sort of step through this for full self-driving. The goal is that customers and customers of full self-driving robotaxis is going to be anyone who drives anywhere, and it's just to get to what I'm calling from point A to point B in a full self-driving robotaxi, and they want to do it safely, reliably, consistently, meaning on schedule when they need it, and economically. So they want to do it safely, you want to drive safely, you want to do it reliably, consistently, means you don't have one day you join to work, one day your robotaxi arrives, and the next day, it's 2 hours late and you're late for work. It means there's always one available in a relatively short amount of time if you want it. And economically means, it's as good as or better than owning your own car or taking an Uber. So those are the things that we, care about, that they or we as consumers or the customers of Full Self-Driving, those are the goals. Basically driving you around in normal everyday life and safely, reliably, consistently, economically. It doesn't actually have to be any level 5 perfect drive in a hurricane. People don't want to drive typically from point A to point B in a hurricane. But it can't be some level 4 system that only works some of the time or only in a tiny geofence area. This type of level 4 system would not meet the above goals. So I'm looking at Jew Waymo when I point that out, that if you're trying to take a Waymo taxi from one point A to point B, but it only you only have certain specific pickup spots and drop off spots, and it only works sometimes it doesn't, and there's only so many vehicles available, not many others, and the price is the same or worse than driving your own car or taking an Uber where someone just drives you. It's totally useless, and it's failed at all the goals, even if it failed at all of the goals, and has to really meet all of these goals for the customer to drive value to the customer and to be a reliable system. It can also be a level, again, it can't be a level 4 system, but not economical to end user. This would also fail to meet the above goals, just as I mentioned. So who can theoretically reach these goals? Number 2, this is that number 2 of the 3 steps I said of how you should evaluate. Not many companies could reach all of the above goals, and with the approaches they're taking, you need very competitive cost structure of the vehicle and Full Self-Driving system to be able to be the same or better economically than taking an Uber or driving your own vehicle. It's really difficult to actually do that. Economically, the economical goal makes systems like an expensive system like LiDAR difficult. If you have a extra 50, 60, 70, 80 grand of LiDAR equipment on your vehicle, that's going to be very expensive to pay that off as an owner of the vehicle, is running it as a robo-taxi, and you're going to have to charge more, and it's not going to be very cost competitive to the end user. Size and scale of the fleet of vehicles needs to be large enough to be consistent schedule-wise. Also, very difficult goal. If you only have a handful of vehicles, you can do it as a party trick, but to actually scale that to a system or area where people are relying on that and giving up their own cars or not even buying cars because they can rather just take a robo-taxi to work and back, you need the right size and scale for people to take that leap and use those products. Okay, and Tesla is the one company I see which has a system and scale that can theoretically reach the above goals. It's very, very difficult to do, but I think Tesla has the ability to do it. And then number 3, who can receive feedback and iterate or improve upon these goals as fast as possible? Who can receive feedback and iterate or improve on these goals as fast as possible? Tesla is in an incredible position that they have key data being streamed from Full Self-Driving beta testers that can precisely identify issues. So they also have a clear software stack that allows them to iterate and improve rapidly. So I think Tesla has the feedback, really precise feedback that nobody else has. And they have the full, over-the-air updates that I think, again, puts Tesla in the ability to rapidly improve, release new software, and then again get more feedback from the new software, and then improve again, back and forth, this feedback, this flywheel loop of improvement. The too long didn't read version of this, I'm just going to break it down. I think the 5 levels are stupid. They confuse your thinking. They're not useful in any way. And it's better to work backwards from what Full Self-Driving customers would want, and who is on the path to achieving those wants, those desires, those goals. And Tesla is the most likely to achieve Full Self-Driving because they actually have the scale and size to do it, and they have the iterative feedback loops to do so as well. So there you have it, folks. Those are my thoughts on why the 5 levels are stupid and the better way to evaluate Full Self-Driving progress from the Full Self-Driving developers that are out there. Love to hear what you guys thought of this video. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm always open to improving my thinking, and always open to seeing where I might be wrong. So if you agree, love to hear that. If you disagree for any reason, love to hear that as well. If you got value out of this video, I also encourage you to subscribe as well, and hitting that thumbs up definitely helps my little channel grow. So cheers. I will see you in my next video, and remember, it's in the bag.